when asked if this race favors his opponent. Jay Donaker, a longtime veterinarian, says that he is definitely the underdog, no pun intended.
I'm running as a middle-of-the-road candidate, knowing that it's in the middle of the road where you have your common ground, but you also have your common sense solutions.
Donaker served as mayor of Reidsville for 16 years. He says that experience gives him what's needed in Raleigh.
And I just saw a real need for somebody who has an understanding of budgets, what you can do with what you have, work with people who you have. You need to work together to a common goal.
What is it at the top of your agenda? What do you want to get done in Raleigh? Is there an issue?
Yes, there are actually three. First one is, and I'm surprised you didn't ask me this question. The legislature is hell-bent on having zero corporate income tax by 2029. We need to stop that.
Donaker says Medicaid expansion and school funding are his other top issues. Unlike some races, there's no divisive battle between Donaker and his Republican opponent, Reece Pirtle. What has he done or not done that doesn't meet your approval, therefore you're running against him?
I think the biggest difference is, and it's no fault against my opponent, he's only been there for a year. He was appointed by the Republican Party. And I think it's human nature that whoever brings you to the dance, you're going to follow along with them initially.
Donaker says he doesn't always side with Democrats on the issues. I would ask you then to point out some issue where you are not on the same line with the Democratic Party.
Well, I think the biggest issue that I'm probably not aligned as closely with the Democratic Party would be there is one side of the party that has this mantra of defunding the police. And that's just not accurate. And that is something that I would never, ever be associated with. I never was as a mayor.
What are the key differences for voters of this district then to figure out who to cast a ballot for?
That's a really good question too, because our district is Rockingham County. And I've known my opponent for years. I think the biggest difference is that I'm bringing to the table experience as working on farms as a veterinarian, working in the city as the mayor, working in business.
The Reidsville Democrat says North Carolina lawmakers have lost track of their mission.
There is too much harsh and angry politics going on in Raleigh. It is very distracting from the true purpose of the legislature, in which is to fund a budget that is agreeable between the executive branch and the legislature. We need to get back to what we really need to be doing down there.
There have been several efforts, and I'm sure there'll be another one this time around, to eliminate the concealed carry permit for weapons. Where do you stand on that?
That should stay at the county level. Every county sheriff should know who has a concealed carry permit and who doesn't.
On the issue of school choice, I had to ask a number of questions to find out just where Donaker stands. But to be clear, you support charter schools as a whole.
Yes.
You have some mixed opinion about vouchers.
Correct.
You support them, but you're not so hot about the growth of vouchers.
That's correct.
Why are you not supporting the growth of vouchers for private schools?
Because it comes down to dollars and cents. We have to make sure, and we're not at this moment, funding our public schools at the level we should. The courts have spoken out on that.
Besides serving as mayor of Reidsville, Donaker's background includes his work as a veterinarian as well as a businessman. He faces Reece Pirtle in the upcoming election. Bill O'Neill, WXII 12 News.